Look at this man on the photo. Would you say that he's athletic? And what about her? And him? If you're thinking that they're not, think again. These people are not just athletic, they're also one of the world's best athletes in their respective sports. The pictures you've just seen are part of a photo gallery from a famous photographer called Howard Schatz. The photo collection is titled Athlete and features both male and female elite athletes from all different sports. From basketball to weightlifting, from long distance running to gymnastics, from rock climbing to wrestling, from triathlon to high jump, and many more. As you can see, it is one of the best displays of human diversity and not just in terms of body shape. But if all these people are athletes and therefore they must be very fit, why the differences in their body shapes are so dramatic? Is there more than one way to be fit? When we say someone is fit or athletic refer to a person, this is what most people have in mind. Considering that preferences over the amount of muscle mass vary from person to person, in general the standard for men is a low body fat, muscular build with emphasis on the upper body, and the standard for women is lean with slightly higher body fat and a bit more preference for the muscles of the lower body, especially legs and buttocks. In both cases, this type of body is achieved by lifting weights at submaximal loads or performing movements that force joints to overcome a significant external resistance. But if we expand the idea of fitness to the broader world of sports, we see that an athletic body is one that displays the most appropriate features required to succeed in a specific field. This is why athletes of each Olympic discipline display such an amazing diversity of body types. Because each sport requires a specific set of skills that is unique and different from all other disciplines. For example, marathon runners need to be small and skinny because they need to sustain physical exertion over a long period of time and carry their bodies along very long distances. They need to save energy as much as possible. Carrying any extra weight, be it fat or muscles, will be an unnecessary burden that will slow them down and take up more energy. On the other extreme, a sprinter would also need to carry as little body fat as possible, as this would slow him down, but he would also need powerful muscles that have to generate a lot of energy in a short period of time. This is why sprinters have big muscles, especially in the lower limbs. Weightlifters, on the other hand, have big muscles that allow them to lift extraordinarily heavy weights. But unless they fall within a specific weight category, they are not concerned with carrying extra fat because they don't have to move their bodies to any distance. Instead, they're moving objects. This requires maximizing muscle growth, which involves lifting weights coupled with a calorie-rich diet to promote protein synthesis. Bear in mind that weightlifting alone does not make you fat. It's the excess calories in the diet that does. This explains the apparent inconsistency in body shape of the two athletes shown here. Despite the fact that they're both weightlifters, they belong to different weight classes. The one on the left needs to be lean to avoid falling into a higher weight class, while the one on the right belongs to the over 198 pounds class and therefore needs to be as heavy as possible to get an edge over other athletes in the same weight class. Heavyweight Olympic weightlifters may consume as many as 10,000 calories a day to maintain their muscle mass. But excess body fat does bother bodybuilders, whose discipline is purely aesthetic and only concerned with the visual effect of muscles. These athletes have to maximize muscle growth, but at the same time make sure that these muscles are showing in as much detail as possible. For this reason, they alternate periods of excess caloric intake to maximize mass growth, with periods of caloric restriction which promote fat loss. Swimming requires yet another body type. They need to be powerful in both their arms and legs to be able to deliver powerful strokes, but they can't be too muscular, as this would require more oxygen to keep going, and in a slightly hypoxic environment, this would be detrimental. Remember that swimmers take air in only with their mouth, which is not ideal, and only during the short fraction of time when their mouth is out of the water, so their body has to make the best possible use of oxygen. Also, swimmers' bodies carry a slightly higher amount of body fat compared to other athletes, as this helps with buoyancy in the water. I've brought up these examples to show you how heavily body shape is influenced by sports. The human body responds to external signals and adapts to stimuli by making itself as fit as possible to the environment it finds itself in. This is why you can't get in shape by sitting on the sofa watching movies. This is also why when you stop training, you start to lose muscles and strength and put on fat. If your environment doesn't require strong muscles, there is no reason for your body to maintain them, as they take up so much energy and your body will always look for the most energy saving option. Therefore, the shape of your body is determined by the type of activity you spend most of your time doing. Of course, some aspects of your body type, like height, bone thickness, or limb to trunk ratio, are genetic. And it is also true that most athletes that got to be elite chose their sport according to their innate physical characteristics that made them likely to succeed. For example, rowers don't grow tall and get long limbs as a result of their sport. Rather, it is having these characteristics that make them more likely to score better, as longer limbs create a more powerful lever. Despite this, however, most other visible body features like muscle mass and muscle to fat ratio are the result of adaptation to each sport-specific training. In other words, you reap what you sow. Of course, because for the general public, fit or athletic is synonym with visually pleasing, and most non-professional fitness enthusiasts train mostly for aesthetic reasons. We associate fitness or athleticism with being lean and muscular. But this is a completely different world from the professional sports. The fact of the matter is that the main goal in most sports is performance, not aesthetics or health. And that is the main difference between sport and fitness. One thing is certain, all these athletes deserve our respect and admiration for what they have accomplished, and for all the effort, dedication, and commitment to their goal that got them to stand out from the rest of us.